Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. So, the following story, the message that I'm going to be reading for you, I posted it on our other platform. So this is the response that was sent to us by our dear brother. So it comes from a translation who was giving his own response to this other woman who was saying that she and her husband, they lost their money after they went to collect their money from this other ATM, and then they did not see the money coming out of the ATM. So the message that he sent to me, it reads like this: Dear brother Nashi, can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I hope that the woman is going to listen to my own confession. So what happened to me is that me and my wife, we had been keeping our money in our account. At that time, our money, it was close to 10,000 rands. So my wife then said, it is far much better that we go back home. Since we have managed to save this money, at least we can go and maybe build something or invest this money in Zim. But I then argued with my wife and I said, look, if we say that we are returning back home right now, know that maybe 3,000 we are going to use it for the transport. What about the groceries? Then all of this money, it will be finished. Why don't we work for a few months so that we can put some money aside that we are going to use for the transport? Then my wife said it was fine, but that was the mistake that I did, because I did not know that one of my uncles, he had been using his monitoring spirits, and when his monitoring spirits saw that we had managed to save all of this money, then our uncle, after these monitoring spirits had reported it to him, then he sent his tokoloshis from Zim. They came and they stole my money, which was in my bank account. Yes, it might sound to be something that is very strange, but indeed it happened to me. One morning when I woke up, I checked my banking application. The money was just gone like that. There was no money at all. I felt like I was losing my mind. I felt like I was going crazy. So what I was now doing, I was acting as if I was like a madman. Anyone that I would come across, I'll just ask him, I would tell him what I was going through. It then happened that my wife, when she returned back from work one day, and she told me that one of the women that she was working with, he had told her that in the location where we were staying, there was this other prophet who had so many powers, who was actually very powerful, who could at least assist us. But I refused to go to that prophet. The reason as to why I refused to go to that prophet, it was because this prophet was a well-known womanizer. If a woman would come to him, if a woman would approach him looking for any kind of assistance, we had been told that this man, he would do those prayers that were going to make that woman to fall in love with him, and he used to cheat on his wife. Whenever his wife would have gone to him, then this prophet will keep on cheating on his wife. So I never trusted him. Anyway, my wife finally convinced me, and she then said, what do we have to lose? Let us just go. Maybe he's going to tell us where our money went to, since the bank was not helping us. They were just telling us that we had used the money, and it was even showing on the bank statements that we had used the money. So we could not even prove it to them that we did not use this money. And when we went to that prophet, I was actually arguing with my wife along the way. But to my surprise, what surprised me was that when we arrived at the place where this guy was staying, then this guy then said, follow me. So at the back of the rooms, that is where he had his small church. So whilst we were kneeling down, that was when that prophet looked at me and he started laughing, and he said, do you know why I am laughing? And I said, no, man of God, I do not even know why you are laughing. He said, when you were coming here to my place so that I can pray for you, I can see that you were laughing at me, and you were actually saying that I do not have any spiritual powers at all. Is this the truth? And I immediately knew that this was nothing but a man of God. So I then spoke with that prophet and I said, I am very sorry, O man of God, but are you able to assist me and my wife in any kind of a way that you want to assist me. Please assist me. Then that prophet told me that he was going to show everything to me and my wife, everything that had happened. Then we saw that my uncle, the one who was in Zim, he had his own tokologies, and after he had been told by his monitoring spirits that I was actually saving some money, he then did his rituals, which enabled his tokologies to come and collect this money straight from my bank, and this tokology returned back to Zim carrying that money. I was heartbroken, and this prophet, he then said that it was going to be okay because he was going to do a go back to sender prayer for me and my wife, and my uncle was going to suffer, and indeed he was going to return back this money to me. But my uncle, he said, was a very powerful witch, a very powerful one, and a wicked witch as well. So the day that I saw that indeed my uncle was a very powerful witch, it then happened that this prophet, he was called by this other South African couple that wanted him to come and strengthen their home, but in another province. So along the N1, when this prophet was traveling, going to that province to meet with that South African couple, that was when he met this roadblock, and then he was asked if he had any documentation on him. Unfortunately, he did not have any passport at all. And to show you that the things that happened were just spiritual. In those days, like, it was very quick. When you get caught, you quickly get deported. But this man, he stayed in prison for a very long time. And this was done, I'm sure, by my uncle, because this man, he had promised me that upon his return, he was going to do some prayers for me so that I can get my money back. But unfortunately, when this man returned back to Zim, he never returned back to the province where he was once staying. So I want to tell that woman to at least visit a prophet or to pray, because some of these things you can say that I have been scammed, I have lost my money, but there might be something that is spiritual that would have happened, like what happened to me and my wife. We just lost our money just like that when the money was in the bank account. I hope that when this woman will hear my own story, maybe she will encourage herself and her husband to go and visit a prophet so that they can get to know what exactly happened to their money. This is my own story, Brother Nashi. Dear listeners, right there was a response that was sent to me to that other story that I read in the previous episode. It was sent to me by our dear brother right there. Strange things do happen in this world. So there is another message that I want to share with you guys. The message, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I don't know, maybe I am a cursed woman. Maybe my blood carries this other curse, because what happens to me is that I am always getting involved with people that do these rituals. I don't know, maybe it is because of my beauty. Maybe when I was still very young, there is someone amongst my relatives who actually cursed me. So my story, it goes on like this. When I was still back home in Zim, life was very difficult. And when I looked at the life that me and my parents and my siblings were living in the village, it was really tough. Then there was this other day when I just got up and I said, I am going to look for a job. This was in the city. So I then ended up being in Harare. When I was in Harare, I started working for this other family. But the problem was that this family that I was working for, they said that they were going to give me at least $60 a month. But when the month end came around, then they gave me $40 instead of $60. So I kept on moving from one place to another. And the problem that I have is that maybe because of the way that I am, maybe the way that I am very attractive, if I work as a maid at the place where I will be working, like the man to the woman and the husband of the woman that I will be working for, that man will start to tell me things like, I want to sleep with you. Please just give me one round and let us sleep together. Then I am going to give you your money. And that was the problems that, those were the problems that, those were the challenges that I kept on facing when I was still working as a maid, when I was still back home in Zim. So then there was this other day, the man that I was working for, he kept on giving me a lot of pressure. He told me that he wanted to make me his second wife. So I ran away and I did not even know where I was going to. I was just walking in the CBD until I came across this other shop. Like I told you, it is like my blood, it is like a magnet to these people that do these money rituals, money making rituals. Because as I was passing through this other boutique, I ended up going into that boutique, even though I did not have any money, to buy anything from that boutique. I went into that shop, then I started looking around, then I saw that the madam boss, she was there. I then went and I spoke with the boss lady and I asked her if she wanted someone to come and work for her to assist her in her boutique, since I had seen that she was working alone in her boutique. Little did I know that the reason as to why she had never had a girl working for her in her clothing store, it was because of her rituals. Her rituals demanded that she is supposed to work alone and alone only. Even at her house, she did not even have a maid. But little did I know that I was getting myself trapped into this life. But little did I know that this woman that I was speaking with, she was just a ritualist. What happened was that the very next morning, I woke up really early in the morning. I wanted to do my duties and I wanted to show her that I was willing to work for her and I was a hard-working woman. But to my surprise, when I went into the kitchen, I knew that we had left all the dinner place that we had used when we were having our dinner. But when I went to the kitchen, this was like 5 a.m. The whole house had been cleaned, and this thing, it kept on happening. So I thought that maybe it was my lady boss who used to wake up early in the morning, then she would clean her house. But what I didn't know was that this lady, she actually had her own tokology in form of a baboon that would clean the house, that would bring her all the money that she had. Then I kept on having these nightmares. I would see my boss lady. She would come into my spare bedroom. Then she will force me to make love to her. The scary part about it was that when she would be on top of me, instead of me seeing a private part like a woman's private part, but I would actually see that she will be having a manhood and her face will transform itself and she would look like a baboon. Then there was this other day when I woke up. When I woke up, I saw that in my spare bedroom, there was a baboon that was busy shifting things and cleaning up that spare bedroom. I woke up and I wanted to scream. Unfortunately, it was as if there was someone that was holding my voice. I could not even whisper. I could not even scream. And when I finally woke up after the baboon had disappeared, that was when my madam boss walked into my spare bedroom and she said, "Did you see anything that is scary? Did you see anything?" So I was scared to tell her because I know that from the village from where I come from, there are a lot of witches. So I just automatically thought that maybe it was one of those witches from my village that wanted me to act as if I was crazy so that I can lose this job that God had given me. I lied to my madam boss. Then there was this other day when we were at her shop. So I looked at her as she was busy doing a stock taking, and I said, since this woman, she seems to be a prayerful woman, let me speak with her. So I told her everything that I had been witnessing in her house, and I said, each and every day I pray for you, oh dear boss, because I do not want anything to happen to you, because my life depends on you and I want to work for you. At least I know that you are going to change my life. And when I told her that I always pray for her, she looked at me and she said, pray for me, pray for me. Why? She looked at me and she said, who told you to pray for me? Did I ever ask you to pray for me? Why do you pray for me? Then she started to insult me and she then told me that I was fired. I thought that it was a joke. She then drove her car, and the way that she drove her car, even people saw that she was really angry with me. She then returned back and she threw money at me and she said, this is your salary. So she gave me an extra amount of the money that she was supposed to give me, and she said, leave my shop. Why do you pray for me? Did I ever ask you to pray for me? That is how I got fired. And after I had gotten fired, I then returned back to my mom in the village. I then gave my mom the money, but this money, it just disappeared. So I had told my mom that I wanted to use this money to do this other business of buying your chicken cuts and then selling them by the side of the road, because there was this other woman whom I had befriended when I was working for that woman. Then, Brother Nashi, when I saw that the money that this woman had given me had disappeared, there was this other friend of mine. So she used to speak with me on Facebook, and I told her that these were the challenges that I was facing whilst I was in Zim. She invited me to South Africa, and I came and I started staying with her. Little did I know that this lady, the reason as to why she really looked so nice, it was because she was prostituting herself to a lot of your South African blessers. I started staying with her, and each and every weekend it was a party. We would go to different parties. So there was this other time that I became friends with this other young South African slay queen. She was the one who upgraded me. She started to take me to your very expensive clubs. And when I came here, that was when I became a slay queen. With all the things that I had witnessed, the spiritual encounters that I had when I was still back home in my country, one would think that I was going to be very serious when it comes to prayer. But oh no, with the first life that I witnessed here in South Africa, it just changed me, and South Africa swallowed me up, and I chose to become a slay queen. I was friends with this young lady who was also a slay queen, like I told you, who upgraded me. So what she used to do is that she used to target these men that she called your tenderpreneurs. So these old guys, they will be driving your Mercedes family bus, in brackets a V-Class, and what they would do is that they do not want to be with one girl, but rather they would want to be with 5 or 6 girlfriends in one night. So my friend, she was really good at chasing after these tenderpreneurs. It then happened that one day she told me that she had selected me amongst her friends, and it was 5 of us, and we were supposed to go to this very expensive party. So that old guy came and picked us up in town. He then took us to this very beautiful house where they were having this indoor party. That house, it was really nice. It had 3 swimming pools. There were 2 indoor pools, and when we went to that house, it was really beautiful. It was an indoor party, and we were having this party by the swimming pool. It had 2 heated swimming pools in the inside, then one big one that was outside. So we were having this indoor party. Whilst we were there, we were supposed to wait for this guy, because by the end of the night, he was going to give us 5,000 rands for pleasing him. But whilst I was just chilling, that was when I was approached by this other guy who was also a blesser, and he came and we started to chill and we started to talk. He invited me upstairs. Me and him, we then went upstairs. To my surprise, the room that he invited me into, when we were in there, I saw that there was no furniture, but it was only a lot of dirty curtains that were all over the walls of that room. This guy, I made love to him. After I had made love to him, this guy, he then gave me 30K. That is how much he gave me. After he had given me the 30,000 rands, I was really happy. I then hid that money. I did not want my friend or the blesser that had brought me to this party to find out that I had slept with another guy. When this blesser was all drunk, and when he said that he just wanted to rest, he then got us into his car. He drove us to this other 5-star hotel where we slept, and we slept with him. And when the morning came, then that was when he gave us our 5,000K. So I had 35,000 rands that I made on a single night. I returned back home, but I then started to experience so much pain in my stomach area and a lot of discharge. This was like a lot of discharge that was really smelly. It was only after one day when I had gone to the toilet, because I felt that there was something that wanted to come out of my private parts. When I forced that thing that wanted to come out of my private parts, when I got up, that was when I saw that I had messed the whole toilet. It was just green. There was some greenish fluid that was coming out of my private parts, and it was really painful. I then took myself to the hospital because I thought that this was like a dangerous STI. When I went to the doctors, they ran some tests on me, and they told me that my uterus was supposed to be removed. I tried to fight with the doctor, but the doctor said, we are going to let you keep your uterus, but know that if we let you keep your uterus, then it is going to mean sudden death for you. You are going to die. So the choice is yours. We can remove your uterus as well as your fallopian tubes, or you can keep your uterus. I returned back home and I started to cry, but this was it. I then returned back and an operation was done on me and they removed everything. And it pains me a lot because at my age, I still expect that one day, someday, I am going to meet a man of my dreams whom I am going to get married to. Obviously, that man, he is going to demand that I give him a child. Like now, all that I do is that I do these sleepovers. Most of the guys, they say that you are really beautiful. Please, can you give me a child? But I can't. Sometimes when I am sleeping with a guy, if a guy tells me that they want me to give them a baby, I'll act as if I also want a child, but I am just failing. But I know that I do not have a womb. I can't even carry a child because I do not have a womb. My womb got rotten after I had slept with a rich blesser. This is my own story, Brother Nashi. Yo, dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by our dear sister there. Strange things do happen in this world. Yo,